from within his lair, and this time, without further ado, he conducted me straight into the laboratory. The place had been given a bit of a tidy up, and everything was in order, organised for organic chemistry and glyptographic research. All had an air of readiness. The mahogany gleamed with tropic oils, and glass shone pristine on the shelves. Mr. Lazarus Taxon extended an osseous hand towards the central workbench, on which was the egg, covered once again by the Mexican cattle cloth. I obtained it from a fellow antiquary, the olden one explained, an old salt who deals in exotic curiosities. Vagahorn is his name. I got it from him. It was part of a job lot, included some old manuscripts and texts from overseas that I had an eye for, but he insisted that I take the egg too. I don't mind telling you, I didn't have much use for it at first. Then my ongoing studies led me to the obscure realm of magneto-animation, and it is within that realm of science that I pursue my particular specialization. Taxon seemed to wax more serious as his mind focused in on his branch of science. So the old egg stood in a corner of my library as an ornament for some years. One particularly lean year, when famine stalked the wind, I was considering making an enormous omelette out of it to feed half the neighborhood. But the village survived, and so did the egg. It was on the tip of my tongue to ask the old one about the species of the cyclopean ovule, but I thought it best to let him get to that point in his own singular time and fashion. There he stood before me, a figure of faded glory. The moths and lichens of time and birdlime had worn their mark upon his antique countenance and stooped his once bold shoulders. The cut of the coat, the lay of the moat, all spoke of an earlier time, a grand paternal time, a time of yesterdays, shadows and dappled light sepia. The shape of his shoes, so like a pair of sailing luggers about to ensail for the grand banks of fine Newfoundland cod, braving the salt sea splash and the starfish's sting, sailing in a bioluminescent sea snail flotilla of whirling squids, squirts, and various marine mollusks. His bird-like eyes glittered and twinkled with a light of intelligence. His face was as if made of parchment, as if sewn together with scraps of the Dead Sea Scrolls. If you could somehow have joined up all the lines, crow's feet, and wrinkles on his face, they would have reached halfway to bury him. Not only his appearance and dress seemed distinctly anachronistic, but his speech was peppered with archaisms and allusions to things past. Lazarus Taxon went on to tell me something of his researches into the topic of magneto-animation, but I confess that despite his best efforts to elucidate the matter, I did not fully comprehend the meaning of the old one.